and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and these are the top diabetes stories and headlines of the past 7 days. In the News is brought to you by T1D Exchange. T1D Exchange is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving outcomes for the entire T1D population. Our top story this week, Vertex buys Viacyte. Vertex is the company that got all those headlines last fall, big article in the New York Times, for a stem cell therapy that brought one person with type 1 off of insulin completely. And the FDA then put them on hold, but lifted that just last week. Vertex previously acquired Dr. Doug Melton's Semma. Viacyte, the company being bought here, is also the company featured in the documentary The Human Trial. And they're using CRISPR gene editing technology to keep the body from rejecting their stem cells. Both companies' technology does not require immunosuppressive drugs, and both say they are working toward a functional cure for type 1. Some experts say this will speed up that effort. Critics are worried that it eliminates the competitive aspect of the race. Sernova is still one separate company that has shown stem cell therapy for type 1 can work. I've got requests out to Viacyte to talk to us about all of this, so stay tuned. If we widely screened kids for type 1 at certain ages, a new study suggests it would identify most of those who go on to develop it by their teen years. These researchers looked at screening for the type 1 autoantibodies at ages 2 and again at age 6. This study included nearly 25,000 children from Europe and the U.S. One issue, though, in the study funded by JDRF, all the participants in the combined data set had genetic risk factors for type 1 or a relative with type 1. It also included almost exclusively kids of Northern European ancestry. So critics say it's not clear if the screening would work quite as well in a more general population. Tandem bolus by phone is slowly rolling out. This week, the T-Connect app was updated, and emails started arriving for those notified that they were part of the early release. I did see some reports of people not yet getting the email, but then seeing the update in their portal, so be sure to check. Mobile bolus is reportedly available for those using Control-IQ and Basal-IQ. It's worth noting that if you are outside the U.S., there really is no timeline here, but Tandem has previously said they're going to replace T-Connect with a new system that will debut outside the U.S. first. By the way, I got my email a couple of days ago, but Benny is still at camp for 3 more weeks, so it'll be a little bit before we do the update. Interesting look at teens and young adults with type 1. The early morning psychosocial state may explain a proportion of their daily variance in time and range. The study included 88 participants aged between 14 and 26, 56% of whom were women. This is tough to quantify as I read this here, but they had the participants complete an engagement prediction survey and set a diabetes management goal for the day when they woke up, and then they completed an evening survey. The questions are about mood and motivation, social support, stress, self-esteem, and perceived need for assistance. Lower morning glucose levels correlated with measures of good sleep, high motivation, and good health, whereas higher morning glucose levels were associated with illness and feeling the need for support. Good catch by our friend Nerdabetic over on Twitter. OneDrop plans to enter what they're calling the continuous health sensing market with a, quote, daily disposable, minimally invasive biosensor in development. So as I read this and look at the photo, this looks like a CGM and sort of acts like a CGM, but probably can't be called one. They say it's designed to provide greater flexibility and insights for people living with diabetes. Long way to go here. Quote, the availability of our continuous health sensor is subject to the receipt of clearance or approval from the U.S. FDA. More to come. Navitas Health Solutions, which is owned by Costco and SSM Health, has joined CivicaScript as a founding member. CivicaScript was created in 2020 to bring affordable versions of common but high-priced generic medicine to market. Earlier this year, they announced they would be adding insulin to that list. Likely won't be available for at least 2 years, but this partnership would seem to ensure the lower-cost insulin will be available at Costco pharmacies. And by the way, you don't have to have a membership to use the pharmacies there. Right back to the news in just a moment. But first, as I mentioned, the T1D Exchange registry is an online research study designed to harness the power of individuals with type 1 diabetes. It's conducted online over time, designed to foster innovation and improve the lives of people with T1D. Your personal information remains confidential. Your participation is fully voluntary. And once you're enrolled, you can complete annual surveys, you'll have the opportunity to sign up for other studies on specific topics related to T1D. By sharing opinions, experiences, and data, patients can help advance meaningful T1D treatment, care, and policy. Sign up. Go to t1dexchange.org/Stacey. That is t1dexchange.org/STACEY. Back to the news now, and the FDA received more than 1,000 comments, mainly from diabetes patients and their family members, in response to draft cybersecurity guidance. Most of the comments asked that the FDA not let medical device manufacturers use cybersecurity as a pretense to prevent people from accessing their own devices. Howard Look, the CEO of Tidepool, is quoted in some of the articles around this. Tidepool provides software that allows patients to see their data, and if approved, Tidepool Loop will be on the market soon to help automate insulin delivery. Tidepool's comments to the FDA include, quote, following best practices for cybersecurity does not need to imply blocking patient users from accessing their own data or controlling their own devices. Tidepool asserts there is a risk that the FDA guidance will be interpreted or misinterpreted to suggest restriction of access by the patient user is appropriate or encouraged. The FDA can mitigate this risk by clearly stating a patient user's access to and use of their own device can be considered authorized access and should not be considered a cybersecurity threat. The 90-day public comment period is over, and the FDA will now begin the process of finalizing cybersecurity guidance for pre-market submissions. And finally, congrats to the team over at the Divabetic podcast, which celebrates 12 years this month. Divabetic was inspired by the late R&B legend Luther Vandross and founded in 2005 by his longtime assistant, Max Mr. Divabetic Zadek. It is now a national nonprofit organization that uses highly engaged, non-traditional virtual programs, videos, and podcasts to promote prevention, early action, and education. Congrats to Max and to the entire team. 12 years. Woo. Next week, you're going to hear from the folks at Diabetes Wise. That's a website to help you choose diabetes technology. And they've added information for doctors. And this may help you educate your healthcare providers on why you want the pump or CGM system that you do. The long-format episode out right now is all about Camp Views. This is a new system that lets diabetes camps see every camper's CGM all at once, all on one screen. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, heads up, The World's Worst Diabetes Mom has a sequel. Still, The World's Worst Diabetes Mom is open for pre-orders right now. You can just head over to the website, diabetes-connections.com, click over to the shop, and you can order it with a big discount. Use promo code EARLYBIRD to save $5 on either book. You can save $5 on both books if you want. No limit to that one. There's also a whole bunch of free downloads in that bookstore. So head on over to Diabetes-Connections and let me know what you think. And that's it for In the News for this week. If you like it, please share it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Stacey Sims. I'll see you back here soon.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.